my obligatory Halloween intro. Merry Halloween, everybody. Some may say, Casey, you had an awful reading month this month, didn't you? And I would say they were half right. Water. Keeping me alive since 1997. So, as some of you may recall from a previously posted video, I had some not nice things to say about a certain series called Red Queen. It's true, I do not recant, but that was what I was supposed to read all month. But because I hated it, I'm pushing it off till November. So that's going to be my TBR for then. So what else did I read in October that wasn't the first Red Queen book? Well, I read a lot of things, but I also DNF'd a lot of things. My reading just went everywhere. I had to keep a little list telling me what I read. So let's get into this wrap up, starting with the four DNFs I had. 3 of these DNFs are permanent. 1 isn't. Wait. Let me double check. Okay, DNF. Okay, the first DNF I DNF'd that I just wasn't feeling right now was called Fates and Furies by Groff? I can't really remember. But as best as I can remember, this book just had like some really flowery writing, and I'm usually really for that, but for this month it just wasn't clicking. So I put it down just for a little bit, gave it back to my library. I'll check it out some other day when I'm feeling flowery. But it is a super contemporary book as far as I got into. Started off with husband and wife honeymooning, doing some scandalous stuff on a beach. And then it just jumps into their childhoods, probably leading up into how they officially met, but I didn't get that far. I was still in the husband's childhood when he was still like a little kid. And I'll come back to it one day, I know I will. But the books I will never again return to. 3 of them. First one was Into the Drowning Deep. I covered this before. It read dry, like a thesis. I was into the first 10 pages. There was guts and gore and glory. Glorious. Give me. But this review is about to get saltier than the sea. The characters were basically robots shouting out marine facts, and I'm just not interested. I don't care. Probably because earth science and any genre relating to environmental studies, all the sciencey stuff that is not like anatomy and like body science, I'm not that into. Kills my mind. It killed my 4.0 GPA, earth science. And it just wasn't fun. The next one I DNF'd is a thriller. I can't believe I DNF'd a thriller. I'm like all thriller. I love it. But The Lying Game by Ruth Ware. Yeah. You guys remember again how I said I like thrillers that are fast-paced. Fast-paced. Those thrillers that are so fast-paced. This is why I have water. I had ramen, so my mouth is really salty right now. I love thrillers that are fast-paced with little description, because I just like to be hit and hit and hit by events and plot and murder and just, yes, drown me in it. But Ruth Ware, I've only read 2 of her books. She's very descriptive, and she gets into it. I think I got to about 40 pages, and I was just tired. Nothing was happening, not even like all the main characters were gathered yet, because she kept describing every single building and every little marshland, and I was just done. No more. I don't even think I'm capable of giving a good summary of The Lying Game, but I will try. Basically, after years and years of 4 friends being separated after spending their high school years, I guess, at a boarding school where they would like be competitive towards each other for a lying game where they would have to tell a lie and stick to that lie and try not to get caught lying. Well, in their adulthoods now, one of those 4 girls texts the other saying, I need you. Sounds like that's a secret code, so they all like come to meet up at this place where the original texter tells them to meet her because she and her dog found what I'm gonna guess is a bone. I didn't get far enough to like confirm it's a bone, but I'm pretty sure it's a bone. Actually, I'm 100% sure it's a bone because I read the Wikipedia article for this book because I just wasn't interested in anything. So I googled spoilers saying, okay book, you have 1 chance, make me want to read it. And I'm glad I did because the book just sounded boring even on Wikipedia telling me all the good juicy stuff. And yeah, it was a bone. So yeah, that book got kicked off my TBR. And the 3rd and final book I DNF'd was Tithe by Holly Black. So, cast your eyes up here to my white shelf. You see this book? I really want to read this book. have not read this book yet, but I did a little digging, and apparently there's a whole other series called Modern Fairy Tales, Tithe, Valiant, Ironside. Those are the 3 books. They were published before this book, and it's sort of like the Grisha trilogy and Six of Crows, where you don't have to read the first series to understand the next one, but like characters do make an appearance from the original series. So I was like, I'm going to read the original series first. That way, when I finally read The Cruel Prince, I'll know really who everyone is. I hope Holly Black's writing has evolved from that. That was an awful book. And it gave me a new rule to live by. Don't read any YA featuring a female protagonist from the 2000s, early 2000s, because they all read the same way, holding in their breaths, boy crazy, stupid, and by this point, my attitude after 3 DNFs is very, forget this crap, I'm out. I was not in the mood to tolerate a hormonal teenage girl at that moment. There was also one guy licking another guy's nipple. What is up with nipples? I don't get it. So yeah, I nearly gave up reading this month, but I pursued, and I found some even more bad books that I actually did finish, starting with Red Queen. You guys know I don't like this one either. 1 star for another flat female character, telling and no showing, lousy world building, a very, very forced love rectangle, and just a generic plot. But now, my blood pressure will slowly go down, because we'll get into the better books. Cleansing breath. Beginning with Turn the Key by Ruth Ware, a step up from The Lying Game. Still not my cup of tea because this is going to sound funny compared to another book down the road, which will have like the same sort of spooky basis. But this book is about a nanny staying with a family in their smart house as a live-in nanny. And the book is written in the form of letters from this nanny in prison. Oh, why is she in prison? Because she is accused of killing one of the family's children. So these letters are written to her lawyer begging that she did not kill that little girl. This is what happened. Please represent me in my trial coming up. Now, while there was some interesting aspects of the novel, such as just the paranoia of knowing that there's cameras watching you everywhere, it was more of a mystery than a thriller in my opinion. Like there were objects moved around, evidence something was being tampered with, but we didn't get like a resolution of what that was till the very, very, very end of the book. And it was some low quality ghost action, if you get my drift. Like everybody's like, it's a ghost, but we don't actually see a ghost, we're just guessing it's a ghost. And I prefer my thriller villains to be like more present, not just moving stuff around trying to, give me the willies. I like more hardcore stuff in thrillers, and this just wasn't that suspenseful either, except for those last 6 pages. Those were great. Like those last 6 pages boosted it from a 1 to a 2.5. But I still don't think it's enough to like me recommend you to go read the book. It's chill. Thrillers shouldn't be chill. I think I need to cut back on the ramen. I can feel the sodium in my veins. Alright, another 2.5 I gave this month. I want to show you what it is, but I also want it to be a surprise because I'm going to make a whole video about it, and it's going to be like in the same vein of my Again But Better review, because it is an author 2 book. You probably already know what it is, and I want to talk about it all in one gigantic video. I have a costume and everything. Another thriller I read. I do like to read a bunch of thrillers throughout the month, mostly because when I get disappointed by one book, a thriller will usually help me get out of the slowly progressing reading slump. I actually don't get reading slumps thanks to thrillers. They make me excited. So I read a meh thriller, 3 stars, that, what's it called? Oh, Never Have I Ever. I'm starting to sense that I just don't like books with like a lying theme, I guess. Never Have I Ever. I should have really liked this book because I love blackmail. This is all about blackmail. But Never Have I Ever, it is the story of a suburban neighborhood. You got all these moms who hang out at a book club, and then one day this super sexy single lady comes through the door, takes over the book club, and she gets all the drunk book club moms to play a game, sort of like Never Have I Ever, but more adulty. She manages to pry some secrets out of them, and she uses them for blackmail, especially for our main character, who I cannot name So I would call her Gail. Gail did some really bad, irresponsible things in her past, and she's been able to keep it on the down low from her new husband and her stepkids and her brand new little baby. But this lady threatens to ruin her whole life unless she gets some money. So we gotta figure out a way out of this mess. I would have liked this book more if I didn't predict everything that would happen. Which is saying something, because I am dumb. I never try to predict things because I like the surprise. I am also very gullible. You can trick me with everything. But I guess my just super thriller sense was activated this book. Here's the thing. I guessed all the plot twists, but they were also wrong and right at the same time, okay? So, spoiler for just a brief minute. 3 spoilers in just a brief minute. So, of course, our main chick, who I have wrongly named Gail, I still can't remember her name. My phone's somewhere, so I can't even look it up right now. She and her past boyfriend, who I was super shipping them. Even though she's married now, I'm like, if you leave your husband for him, I would think that's mean, but I'd also be okay with that. They did some irresponsible DUIs, and they managed to kill a mom who was driving her 2 kids around. The 2 kids were fine, and lo and behold, this woman, this sexy hot woman who just pops up at the book club, she claims to be the daughter of the lady who they killed in the car wreck. I knew that was going to happen on the 2nd chapter, ooh, I sense it, I know it. And then sure enough, yeah, the lady, she's like, I am the little girl. You killed my mom. You owe me money. You will pay me money or I will tell everyone around here that you killed my mom. But then Gail, she's like, no, you're not her. That little girl drowned a long time ago. So who are you? And the blackmailer's like, well, crap, what do I do now? So yeah, the blackmailer was just pretending to be the little girl just to get some money. But then I was like, well, then how did she get this information about the little girl? Because Gail's name and age and stuff weren't made public to the public because she was a minor at the time. You know, that's what the law does. But then I was like, I bet it's Tig, the guy she was driving with that night when they killed the mom. I bet he is after Gail for not stepping in and letting him land 3 years in jail. And this is a revenge story now. And then Gail, she's like, oh, I bet Tig did this. And I'm like, yeah, I bet he did too. So then she gets in her car, goes to Tig. He's like, no, I didn't have anything to do with it. He's all super nice. I'm like, dude, you're cute. So even though I'm half wrong, I still know mostly where the story's going. And then I figured, okay, I bet we're gonna have some sort of accident with the blackmailer and our hero's gonna save her life and they're gonna be buddy-buddy and she's gonna stop blackmailing them. I was half right. An accident happened. Our hero saved the villain, but the villain's like, yeah, you still gonna give me money because I'm still gonna blackmail you. So like I said, even though I'm still wrong, I'm still sort of right. So I'm not thrilled because I'm sort of guessing everything that's going to happen. The only thing I didn't guess was what happened on page 316, nasty. You, my friend, are a nasty human. Oh my gosh. My stomach was constantly twisting in those last 20 pages. From disgust, the tension, to excitement, mostly disgust. And then on page 334, we have a sweet little innocent kiss, which I'm like, girl, do you know where his lips have been? Oh, as I'm deleting everything, I just remembered why I also didn't like this book. I have come up with a new term, Sandlot ending. I've realized this is something I don't like. You guys ever seen the movie Sandlot? Story about a bunch of boys who come together to play baseball at the sandlot. And across the sandlot is a fenced backyard where a really mean, evil-looking dog lives. They knock their baseball, the last baseball, into the sandlot and they're on this quest to get it back. Basically, that's it. But at the very end of the movie, we get this nice clip of the boys just playing baseball again. The narrator's like, and Timothy went on to own 4 gas station chains. Alexander went on to marry Olivia from the lifeguard pool thing and have 3 kids. Tony over there went on to be a Major League Baseball player. William went on to be abducted by aliens. Basically, that ending for this book. Also, Priory of the Orange Tree. I don't like it when the last chapter, or the building up to last chapters, after some great big fight, or tension has been resolved. We have sort of a time jump and everyone's just chilling. I want to see my book characters walk off the battlefield wounded and limping. I don't want them to be safely recovered 2 months from now. I want the emotions of the moment we just escaped from, not just some narrator in the sky telling us how they're living nowadays. That's what happened in Priory when the big bad was conquered and whatnot. And it's just not a satisfying ending in my book. Really makes you take a back seat. Feels like you've been pushed from the book a little bit too. Like you were living in it, now you're just removed. Okay, the last 2 books I read. Another thriller, The Whisper Man, 4.5. Really enjoyed it. I need to get my phone again. I'm going to read you the summary or the book jacket of this book because it did a really good job of explaining what the book was about. Some thrillers can be a bit misleading, like Never Have I Ever. And again, this is a really good thriller that I do recommend, so I can't get that much into it, but it definitely gave me some Silence of the Lamb vibes. And here it is. After the sudden death of his wife, Tom Kennedy believes a fresh start will help him and his young son Jake heal. A new beginning, a new house, a new town in Featherbank. But the town has a dark past. 20 years ago, a serial killer abducted and murdered 5 residents. 5 little boys. Until Frank Carter was finally caught, he was nicknamed the Whisper Man, for he would lure his victims out by whispering at their windows at night. Just as Tom and Jake settled into their new home, a young boy vanishes. His disappearance bears an unnerving resemblance to Frank Carter's crimes, reigniting old rumors that he preyed with an accomplice. Now detectives Amanda Beck and Pete Willis must find the boy before it is too late, even if that means Pete has to revisit his great foe in prison, the Whisper Man. And then Jake begins acting strangely. He hears a whispering at his window. Dun dun dun. Super good book. I especially loved the theme of fathers in this book. We have Tom Kennedy, his son Jake, single parent with a boy who just lost his mom, and they're kind of distant and they're just rebuilding their bonds. Loved it. I was also able to predict 2 things in this book again. I was on a roll this month for thrillers, for just guessing everything that's going to happen, and I did. But I will just tell you guys that what I thought, Pete and, what was her name? The female detective. I was like, oh, is this going to be another romance? I don't really feel romancy. Very little romance in this book. Just good thriller action, in my opinion. Just on a hunt to catch a sicko. I would have gave this book a 5, but I gave it 4.5 because one of the little clues tying in everything was really just a jump in logic, a jump to conclusions. I didn't really get how it's strung together with everything. Spoiler here, if you guys want to know what it is. It was the picture of the butterfly that George gave to Jake. And I'm like, okay, Tom, how do you just assume that someone gave this butterfly picture for Jake to copy? I don't understand why copying it was really a big thing to do. I don't get why the picture had to be copied by Jack, whatever his name is. The villain in this book, I wanted to slap him or her so hard, but I also wanted to protect him or her because they had some bad things happen, yo. But, oh my gosh, the last chapter. I was laughing and I shouldn't have been laughing because someone probably got murdered. Just a super nice book about building up family bonds, yo. It's what we all need in life. Okay, the last book I read this month was a 5 stars. It was a semi-middle grade, semi-young adult, semi-thriller, semi-fiction, Lockdown, Escape from Furnace. A story just about a little kid, 14-year-old Alex, who was framed and put in the worst penitentiary under the earth, Furnace. Because beneath heaven is hell, and beneath hell is Furnace. No longer is murder of any kind tolerated. You're 8 years old, you accidentally killed your little brother because he beat your Angry Bird score, you're going to jail. Alex is framed, he's put under the earth, and he just wants to escape. He doesn't want to be eaten by rabid demon dogs. He doesn't want to be fried in the gigantic boilers in the kitchen. He doesn't want to be crushed by a cave-in. He doesn't want to be taken by the Blood Watch, by the gaseous wheezers breathing heavily through their Nazi-style gas masks. He does not want to be shanked, and he and his squad of misfit boys will do anything it takes to escape. And that's it. It was just a good story about so much blood and just the need to survive. I rank it middle grade, so all I'm looking for is just to be entertained. I was. There was a lot of fart jokes, but it's for boys, so it's not fine, but we should expect classier things from our 9-year-olds, but it was still good. I'm gonna go buy the rest of the series. There's 5 books, and I'm gonna love them all. I already know it. Water. One book I have not finished yet, but am loving right now, 200 pages in, Imaginary Friends by Stephen Chbosky. Trippy. I'm gonna give it a 5 for now. I still got like 500 pages left, but I'm loving it. I'll read you the back, and you too will become interested in it. Single mother Kate Reese is on the run. Determined to improve life for herself and her son, Christopher, she flees an abusive relationship in the middle of the night with her child. Together, they find themselves drawn to the tight-knit community of Mill Grove, Pennsylvania. It's as far off the beaten track as they can get, just one highway in, one highway out. At first, it seems like the perfect place to finally settle down. Then Christopher vanishes. For 6 long days, no one can find him. Until Christopher emerges from the woods at the edge of town, unharmed but not unchanged. He returns with a voice in his head, only he can hear, with a mission only he can complete. Build a treehouse in the woods by Christmas, or his mother and everyone in the town will never be the same again. By the author of The Perks of Being a Wallflower, which I haven't read, but What is Rhett? By the author of The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Please read it. Maybe in my November wrap-up, I'll switch my opinion and say that this is garbage too. But right now, it's the best. Now, that whole part about a voice in his head, doesn't it just scream a sort of magical realism in this thriller? Well, I forgot all about that. I read the summary, but I went into this book just thinking it was a thriller. But it wasn't until a plastic trash bag started talking to someone that I was like, oh yeah, this is a magical realism sort of book, and I am loving it. That plastic trash bag, I want him as like my friend. He was so nice. Right now, it's sort of reminding me of the ocean at the end of the lane, which I was pretty mad about because just some of the writing was trying to be too pretty, I guess, and this is like nice and simple, and I get it, and I'm enjoying it. Well, guys, that is it. How many books did I read? Let's tally it up. Well, I DNF'd 4, so I read 5. I only read 5. Wait, 6. Good enough for me. 6.5. I had some bad books. I had some good books. And it's just gonna get better. Well, except November. I'm gonna hate myself in November because it is now time for my November TBR. Got it. Wait. Hey, look out. Got him. I got him. Let's go read.